not subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button as shown above. Hello friends, welcome to Kamath Astrology. In today's video, we will cover one important transit, that is Jupiter or Guru becomes retrograde or Vakri in the sign of Pisces or Meen from 29 July 2022 till 24th November 2022. In this video, we will study the general impact of Jupiter becoming retrograde in the natural 12th house in the zodiac belt, that is the sign of Pisces. Both the auspicious effects as well as the inauspicious effects will be covered in this video. Now, this is the chart on 29th July 2022, 2:06 am IST, when Jupiter becomes retrograde in the sign of Pisces. You can see Jupiter in the sign of Pisces in a purple square, and I have shown a red arrow to indicate that the planet appears to be moving backward when observed from the Earth, and that is known as retrograde motion or Vakri Graha, that is Jupiter becomes Vakri or retrograde. Now, what does a Vakri Graha do? A Vakri Graha takes us backward, that is, it takes us back in the past. It makes us introspect ourselves and it makes us do the necessary corrections based on that introspection. So, now what is Jupiter indicating? Jupiter is the Karaka for optimism, for divine spiritual knowledge, for higher learning. Jupiter is the Karaka for happiness as well as wealth in our life. Jupiter is also the Karaka for children. So overall, Jupiter represents auspiciousness. Jupiter is a teacher who gives us divine knowledge. So when Jupiter goes retrograde, it makes us look within ourselves, search for our soul, and illuminate that soul with divine knowledge. So a retrograde Jupiter draws people towards spirituality, towards divine learning, and that is the most auspicious thing about Jupiter becoming retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So it can make you search for your true purpose in life, your soul purpose, and it can give you tremendous divine knowledge if you meditate daily during this time period. But now there is a small catch. This retrograde Jupiter is being aspected by a retrograde Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, and Saturn's third aspect on Jupiter implies restrictions on Jupiter's significations. So what do I mean by this? Pisces is the natural 12th house in the zodiac belt, and the 12th house indicates losses, expenses, it indicates sacrifice, which means that to attain something higher, you have to leave the past and move ahead. You have to give up something. And basically, Saturn wants us to give up our ego and to achieve our goals by working hard. Now, since the sign of Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac belt, it is the 12th house which indicates losses, and Jupiter is the Karaka for finances, for money, for spiritual knowledge, for optimism. So when Saturn's aspect falls on the retrograde Jupiter, there is a general lack of happiness. There is a delay in auspicious things being achieved in this time frame when Jupiter is retrograde, and you may have to work more hard to get auspicious results in this time in your business or in your workplace. Now, because Jupiter is the Karaka for wealth and finances, and he is in the natural 12th house of losses, and is aspected by a retrograde Saturn from the sign of Capricorn, which represents the economy, This means that retrograde Jupiter is going to bring a global recession. Different countries will experience severe recession once Jupiter becomes retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Now, before we conclude that there is a severe recession, we have to look at another planet which represents luxury, wealth, and comforts. That is Venus. So, on 29 July, you can see Venus is in the sign of Gemini or Mithun. But on 24th September 2022, Venus is going to enter into its debilitation sign of Virgo Kanya, and you can see the bottom right square is the sign of Kanya just to the right of Libra. So when Venus enters into the sign of Virgo or Kanya, it is going to mutually aspect Jupiter. That is, Jupiter will aspect Venus, Venus will aspect Jupiter in the sign of Pisces. And Jupiter and Venus have opposing beliefs. Jupiter is Devguru, Venus is Asurguru. And when Venus goes into debilitation, Venus becomes weak. That is the time the economy really suffers. And so from 24th September 2022 till around 18th October 2022, there will be a very severe recession. The recession has already started, but it will become extremely severe once Venus enters into the sign of Kanya or Virgo and starts aspecting Jupiter. So, a major negative effect of Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Pisces is that it brings about a major recession in the society and in the economy. Now, Jupiter represents optimism, Jupiter represents positive thinking, and when aspected by a retrograde Saturn, all of these significations of Jupiter slow down. So there is a general lack of happiness, general lack of optimism within the society once Jupiter starts becoming retrograde and receives the aspect of a retrograde Saturn. Another point to note is that Libra is the natural 7th house in the zodiac belt, and it indicates harmony, it indicates balance. And when Ketu is present in Libra, the balance starts getting disturbed. This is the reason why right now you are seeing a lot of religious disputes within India as well as other countries. And now with Saturn putting its 10th karmic aspect on Ketu, Ketu is also about leaving something, about giving away something, about cutting bonds. So when Saturn starts aspecting Ketu in the 7th house, that is in the sign of Libra, relationships suffer, people do not trust each other easily, and disputes over religion will occur. Jupiter's 9th aspect falls on the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is the natural 8th house in the zodiac belt, which indicates occult knowledge, deep secrets, buried things. So when Jupiter's 9th aspect falls on Scorpio, it is a very good thing because it encourages us to move towards spirituality, to move towards divine knowledge. And Jupiter going retrograde clearly indicates that we must do soul searching, we must meditate more, and we must channelize our energy towards aligning towards that divine force. Once you start doing this, you will also learn to give up your ego and to accept things as they are. And that is when retrograde Jupiter starts giving good results to you. Now, one more thing to note is the sign of Cancer or Kark. And this sign of Cancer or Kark is receiving multiple aspects in this time period. It is receiving the positive 5th aspect of Jupiter. It is receiving the protective 4th aspect of Mars. And it is receiving the malefic aspect of Saturn. So now, even though Mars is putting the fourth protective aspect, Mars is influenced by Rahu. And when Mars is influenced by Rahu, it indicates a negative dimension of Mars, that is extreme anger in the society and an increase in terrorist activities in the country. So during this time period, even Saturn is putting its malefic aspect on Cancer, and the sign of Cancer indicates India's borders. So this is a time when lot of stress will be there on the borders as well as in the neighboring countries of India. So to summarize, the retrograde Jupiter helps us to look inwards, to do a soul search, to meditate more, to tune our energies with the divine self, and to gain higher learning and divine knowledge. But on the world front, because this retrograde Jupiter is being aspected by a retrograde Saturn, and Jupiter is going retrograde in the natural 12th house of Pisces, it brings about a global recession which will impact different parts of the world, not just India, but different parts, different countries in the world in a very severe way. The severity is more pronounced between 24th September 2022 and 18th October 2022 when Venus moves into the sign of Kanya or Virgo. So yes, a global recession is on the way. Please do not invest lot of money in the stock markets. Be very cautious because Jupiter is the natural significator of wealth, and when Jupiter goes retrograde, your wealth will also come down. The stock markets will crash further. So be very careful when you are investing when Jupiter is retrograde. So friends, if you like this video, please mark it as liked on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to our channel Kamath Astrology, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button. For any consultations, please email us at astrosevaworld@yahoo.com and we'll be glad to assist you. To know more about us, visit our website astroseva.tripod.com. So friends, thanks a lot. Bye. Take care and stay safe.